Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a slightly different approach. We're going to treat reading and writing like an architect's blueprint. If you're looking to really master the cause and effect essay, think of it like constructing a massive, sturdy building. We're going to focus entirely on how you organize your ideas and how to accurately compare a shared theme across different texts.
Okay, let's just dive right into the blueprint. Here's our agenda. First up, structuring cause and effect. Then, using signal words. Third, clearing up a huge misconception between theme and topic. After that, we'll compare a shared theme, test our knowledge with some creative practice and self-checks, and finally wrap up with a quick recap in your next steps.
Section 1. Structuring cause and effect, the architect's blueprint.
Just like a building needs a rock-solid foundation and carefully sorted materials, an effective explanatory essay requires deliberate organization. You can't just throw bricks into a pile and call it a house, right? And you definitely can't just list a bunch of facts and call it an essay. To build that structure, you need a reliable method. First, identify your central idea. What's the main point you're actually trying to construct? Second, sort your causes and effects into logical categories. Third, plan out your signal words. Fourth, and this is absolutely crucial, check whether the relationship you're claiming is actually supported by text evidence. And fifth, revise your graphic organizer before you start drafting. Notice the strict sequence here. You literally must verify your evidence and revise your plan before you write a single paragraph of your draft. Skipping this is exactly like pouring concrete before you've laid down the plumbing. It just creates a massive mess later on.
Moving right along to Section 2. Using signal words, the joints that hold it together.
Once your ideas are sorted out, you need something to actually connect them. Think of signal words as the mortar holding your cause and effect bricks together. We're talking about phrases like because, as a result, therefore, consequently, due to. Using these exact words clarifies the logical connections for your reader, making absolutely sure they don't get lost in your argument. If you just slap two facts side by side without them, the cause and effect relationship is completely invisible to your audience. These transitions are what take a clunky, disjointed list of events and turn them into a cohesive, structurally sound explanation.
Let's head into Section 3. Theme versus topic, misconception. Defining the framework.
So, before we can build an essay that analyzes and compares texts, we have to pause and correct a super common academic misconception. This is something that can severely weaken your entire foundation if you're not careful. Here's the deal. A topic is just the broad subject you're looking at. It's a single concept, like survival. But a theme is the actual underlying message or claim the author is making about that topic. For instance, surviving requires community. So a topic is just a single word, while a theme is a complete thought. If you write your essay claiming that two texts share the theme of nature, well, you haven't actually identified a theme at all. You've basically just pointed at the empty lot where the house should be built.
All right, Section 4. Comparing a shared theme, surveying two buildings.
Grade 8 writing standards almost always require you to draw evidence from multiple texts to support your analysis. And honestly, you just can't write a great essay comparing texts if you don't know how to analyze their themes first. When you're asked to compare a shared theme across two different texts, you need to systematically inspect both structures using three specific pillars. Think of this as your inspection checklist. Pillar 1. Compare the specific textual details. What is actually happening in the plot or the argument? Pillar 2. Compare the author's perspectives. How do they frame the issue? What tone are they using? And Pillar 3. Compare the consequences shown in the texts. How does it all end for the subjects involved? By mapping these out, you can see exactly how two totally different authors tackle the exact same theme, even if their specific topics look completely different right out of the gate.
Now for Section 5. Created practice, self-checks. Inspecting the work.
Let's put on our hard hats and apply these organizers to a created practice exercise to see how this works in real time. We're going to look at two short scenarios and then test your understanding. Listen really closely to these two passages. Passage A. A town builds a dam to stop floods. The fish leave. Passage B. A farmer clears trees for crops. Topsoil blows away. Notice the deliberate actions taken by the humans in these scenarios and the specific results that follow in both instances. Okay, time for self-check number 1. Using step 4 of our blueprint, which is checking whether relationships are actually supported, take a look at this question. Based on passage A, which claimed relationship is unsupported by the text? Is it A, dam built leads to flood stopping, or is it B, dam built leads to the town getting rich? Go ahead and make your choice. The correct answer is B. And here's the brief reasoning.
The text states that the dam stops floods and fish leave, but there is zero evidence presented that the town gets rich. Remember, you can't just invent materials for your essay building. If the text doesn't explicitly state the town got rich, you cannot claim it as an effect, no matter how logical you think it might be in the real world. You absolutely must always stay grounded in the text.
Let's try self-check number 2. How do the details and perspectives in both texts develop a shared theme about human intervention? Now, let's look back at our 3 pillars of comparison and see how these two completely different topics, building a dam versus clearing trees, might share a foundational message. Take a second here. Think about the details, the perspectives, and most importantly, the consequences they have in common.
And here is the answer. Both texts share the theme that altering nature for quick human benefit leads to unintended negative consequences. Even though the details are literally completely different, the shared consequence perfectly illustrates the underlying theme. The town stopped the floods, sure, but they lost the fish. The farmer got room for his crops, but he lost his topsoil. They both achieved their immediate goal, but they triggered a negative environmental reaction.
Finally, Section 6. Recap and next steps. The final walkthrough.
To successfully build your cause and effect essay, you've got to organize your ideas by sorting causes, adding signal words, and revising your plan before drafting. When analyzing texts, never confuse a basic topic with an underlying theme, and always systematically compare their details, perspectives, and consequences. By mastering these foundational steps, you will construct rock-solid analytical essays that clearly communicate your insights. Now, I challenge you to apply both of these organizers to the authorized primary source text collections at the Library of Congress. When you finally look closely at the raw materials of our history, what hidden themes will you uncover in the foundation?